Proceeds to sick bay. The doctor should look at it as soon as possible.
It is the way in which we propagate our species. Please demonstrate how this is accomplished. So, what's next? I don't know.
Hi, and welcome to Casual Trek, a Star Trek recap and ranking podcast brought to you by the Nerd and Tie sex line. We're on board, we're willing, and waiting. Call 1-800-TREY-PORN. I'm Charlie Etheridge Nunn. I feel strange, but also good. And I'm a fan of the role-playing game Monster Hearts, about the messy lives of teenage monsters.
I'm Miles Reed-Labato, the second biggest slut in the public library, and I have a t-shirt that says so.
And I'm Celeste Star Twin, and I'm a big fan of the anime Rock is a Lady's Modesty, a anime that's theoretically about girls starting a rock band, but is actually about using rock as a metaphor for lesbian bondage.
Wow.
Okay.
It's a whole education every time you guest star here, Celeste.
You know, I remember way back in the days of the 90s of manga video, when anime was the Cyberpunk collection, and being able to buy shit like Genocyber and Cyber City Oedo 808 and Angel Cop and AD Police, and now it's just like, now it's what you just described. And you know what? That's magical.
There is a distressing, maybe not distressing, for me it's quite enjoyable degree of shows that are about girls starting rock bands that seem to actually be them starting lesbian polycules, but that might just be me.
I mean, the Venn diagram, like, it's got to be pretty close.
It's pretty close. Like, it's not exactly concentric circles, but it's a, like, 90% overlap.
Wow.
Clearly the BBC drama We Are Lady Parts walked so that this show could run.
Yeah, so that Rock is a Lady's Modesty could run, yeah.
Nice. So, this is not entirely about those kind of things, but it's about Star Trek. Specifically, 3 different Star Trek shows based around a theme that we're going to watch, recap, and then place on a big list of best to worst. And here we're getting hammered and looking at the naked duology, and also another time that the crew lost their inhibitions. So, as you can tell, this is episode 69. So we have a guest star, and we're going to cover some of the daftest Trek that the show's given us. But before we do that, Celeste, what non-Star Trek thing have you been enjoying since we last spoke?
So as tempted as I am to join everyone else goozing about the movie Sinners, because I finally saw that last night, and everyone is right, it was excellent. I actually want to highlight an indie game that I played that has had me giggling for like 2 straight weeks now. It's a game you can play in like an afternoon. It's called Donut County. It is set in a vaguely California setting, and it is about you play as a raccoon who is, in theory, supposed to deliver donuts to people, but instead he opens up a hole underneath the delivery locations, and you control the hole to collect all the trash. And by trash, I mean everything, animal, mineral, person around, until everyone in the county is in a hole. And the framing device is the raccoon justifying himself to his community who he trapped in this hole with him.
This feels like a weird fusion of Death Stranding and... oh god, what's that game?
Like Katamari.
That's it.
It reminded me of when I played.
Death Stranding meets Katamari Damacy.
It kind of is. It's like, it's almost reverse Katamari, because instead of collecting everything into a ball, you're putting everything in the hole in the ground. And sometimes, like, the things you put in the hole in the ground can be used for physics challenges above the ground, like starting a fire and in the hole and then dropping corn in there. Now you've got popcorn coming out of the ground that you can use to trigger something else. It's extremely funny. Also, the main character is a raccoon, and at the end of every level, you have his Trashopedia, where he gives his demented understanding of what the things are that he collected, and it makes the game even better. Like I said, you can beat it in an afternoon, but I have been giggling about it for like 2 straight weeks, so it must be good.
You're still not convincing me that this isn't a mechanic I've yet to unlock in Death Stranding 2.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, maybe 3. Maybe Death Stranding 3 will have the giant hole. But yeah, it's one of those short indies that is such a joy to play. I remember picking it up on the Switch, and I think I did it in an afternoon. Emma did it in an afternoon, and we were just having so much fun with it.
I know I'm late to the party on it. It made me so happy, and I think more people need to go out and play it because it's wonderful.
I am literally texting my wife Rihanna right now.
Yeah, Ria's gonna love it. It's absolutely demented. I love it so much.
Yeah. So, Miles, once you've shot that text off, what non-Star Trek thing have you been enjoying?
Recent and last kind of week or so, I decided to reread the Michael Moorcock Elric Melniboné series because I've only read bits of it on and off since reading it back when I was 18, and for once, I am reading something Moorcock related, which I'm not going to talk about on a podcast.
What?
I know, surprising, I know, and yeah, it's a lot. It's been a lot of fun to reread this. I didn't kind of. The trouble with a lot of the Elric stories as they're collected is that they're done in chronological order. And I feel like I'm one of those people who feels like publication order is usually the better way to read a long-running series, because when you have a character who's been written over many decades, a writer's kind of style can change. And thus that can sometimes really cause weird tone differences when you go from book to book. So you go from really pulpy to really trippy and a lot more kind of metaphysical to like 60s Conan knockoffs where where people are dying by the bucket load.
Yeah, I actually tend to agree on that philosophy. Publication order is, I think, always the best way to go.
It depends on what you're getting out of it, I guess. A lot of the time, seeing how people justify retroactive continuity or anything like that is kind of fun. For me, with my daily X-Men marathon, which is almost a Fear itself and Schism, it's something where I've actually inserted all of the retro series in. So suddenly seeing late career Chris Claremont trying to expand on things and reintroduce Bloody Bess yet again has been kind of hilarious, but it can be a bit jarring.
I mean, the thing I enjoy about it second time round is the books make the books. You know how in the Star Wars prequels, every so often you have Obi-Wan Kenobi going, "Oh, Anakin, you'll be the death of me," and you're meant to kind of laugh and go, "Oh, you see." But he will actually kill him
And
in
he
episode.
was.
Yeah. This is that. It's like that in places, but it's done well, and it's actually good storytelling. So like the book makes no qualms from like the end of the first book that when Elric promises his cousin / fiance that he's going to go away, he's going to come back, they're going to be happily married. The Black Chaos Sword, which he now has, which absorbs the souls of the people he kills to fuel him, won't control him. The book is like, none of this is going to go how Elric intends. But it's one of those things which, like, I feel like a lot of that kind of you being reading it in knowing what Elric's fate is going to be makes a lot of what lands in in those first books hit a lot better. Oh, so he's a gigantic angsty drama monkey who who just likes to sulk and just kind of complain about how horrible his life is, to the point where all his friends are just kind of like, cheer up, you moody bastard.
I'm 100% convinced that Hiromu Arakawa was familiar with the Elric series when she was naming the protagonist in Full Metal Alchemist. It
More than
just
likely.
it seems unlikely that she wasn't
Yeah.
aware.
I mean, I know that the books have been published in Japanese with covers by Yoshitaka Amano, which are amazing artwork. But
Awesome.
yeah. And Charlie, what about you? What non-Star Trek, non-Death Stranding 2 thing have you been enjoying?
So a couple of days ago, my partner and I went to Crawley for the one reason to go to Crawley, which is to go to the IMAX.
Croy doesn't have like a really nice greasy spoon.
I didn't see one. There's not a huge amount there, but there is the IMAX. And unlike the last couple of times where we went to see Dunes, we saw Superman. And fucking hell, it's good. I am pleased to say, as someone that has ranted for probably a good 48 hours in total over the years on Man of Steel and how I felt like brokenhearted by what it did. And we won't go over all of that. It knows what it did. This fucking gets it. It's not got like I love James Gunn. I know that sometimes he can get a bit too
James Gunn.
Yeah, and he manages to keep it like earnest and positive while also keeping threats, keeping drama. You know, a lot of these things about, oh, why doesn't Superman just intervene in world politics and things? Well, they kind of cover that. Nicholas Hoult is a wonderful, weird little freak as Lex Luthor. Like, he is the perfect, like, CEO monster. Even to the point of him just idly flinging, like, stationery to the floor and getting his little gamer bro underlings to pick her up around his feet. You know? Like, he knows what he is. He knows he is a terrible person and he is fine with that. Mr. Terrific is shockingly like good. Now, I'm someone that back in the day loved the Jeff Johns JSA and liked Mr. Terrific there, and then felt whenever he popped up in the varied CWs, it was fine. But yeah, this gets him. It gets the interactions between Lois and Clark. Like, Jimmy is not as weird as the Matt Fraction Steve Lee, but Jimmy Olsen, but he's weird enough. This whole was made for me, basically. This Superman, I cried 3 times there. Like Emma was saying as the credits rolled, like, are you crying at Superman? It's like, yes, I am. Like, it's not even the first time that I've cried at a Superman thing. That's the sign it's a good super. Like, yes. I still cry at parts of All-Star Superman. You know, like that does that to me. Superman does that.
Hell, I admit that I've cried at parts of Man of Steel, and they're actually tears of like good emotions and not crying because, oh my god, Man of Steel. And only 48 hours, Charlie? I'm disappointed in you. I think I've bitched about Man of Steel for about 84 hours, and I think 80 hours of that was to Celeste right there on the phone.
In addition to that,
on the phone, in person, text, angry semaphore messages outside their house until the police came and I had to run away.
The old Nerd and Tie podcast, we actually used to have a segment called the DC Carnival of Sadness, which was set off by Man of Steel back because the Nerd and Tie podcast, it definitely came out around the time Man of Steel was still new. And there was that little bit of hope where we were like, well, maybe they're not going to screw it up. Maybe it was just a weird first step. And then Batman and Superman made it clear, nope, this was not a weird first step. That was a sure-footed first step towards something much, much worse. So
Okay, so how I would treat the first live action Transformers film, which okay, they've got the weirdness. Now, hopefully, for the second film, we'll have more Transformers stuff and less weird misogyny and racism.
what was that? More misogyny and racism? You got it.
As I say, I credit the film Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen to making me a feminist. Because I am watching this film, and I am watching the scenes where the two hot college students are implying to sleep with, I think it's Dwight from The Office for a grade.
Yes.
And then I'm like, oh my god, I get what my girlfriend and all my friends are saying now.
Unfortunately, I can confirm because for the YouTube channel, we watched all of them, like all the Michael Bay movies, and Revenge of the Fallen is definitely the second worst one. I'll say that.
God, I mean, that sounds like a rough task to do.
The fifth one was one of the worst experiences I've ever had in my life with a film. The only thing that it had going for it is there's an extremely inadvertently funny sequence where Megatron wants to bargain with the humans to get some of his Decepticons back who are like in custody, and they get like a Suicide Squad intro sequence, but Michael Bay has already killed all of the Decepticons you know or care about, so they're like really scraping the bottom of the barrel. So it's like, I want Dreadbot and Mohawk, and it's like, what?
You know, Celeste.
Yeah.
You know I'm a phone call away. Like, as cries for help go, this is low. Like, if you feel that you need to watch live action Transformers films again, just give me a call. We'll get pizza and watch. I don't know, Red Green.
I mean that's extremely Midwest of you. I appreciate that. Although I'm still gonna defend the Bumblebee movie, even though that movie got a lot harder to watch, since like thematically it's about losing fathers and being dadless. That movie hits different now. Guardians 2 also hits different now. The point is, James Gunn is a wonderful filmmaker, and I cannot wait to see this Superman movie. Like, I'm chomping at the god. Also, Justice for Darwin, I guess. Not the way I expected, but Justice for Darwin.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Oh, dear. There's no monster dong in this one, I'm afraid.
Okay.
Oh, that's how you know it's not the Snyderverse. That's how you know it's not the Snyderverse.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I didn't check to see if Metamorpho hung dong, but, I guess he'd be the closest you'd get to a monster. There.
It didn't matter if you were checking in Watchmen. It was always right in frame.
Oh, my.
It was like Walk Hard, Ricky Bobby all over again, but blue.
You know what? I have very few positive things to say about the Watchmen movie. One, I do admire the fact that he let Dr. Manhattan hang dong.
Mm-hmm.
And second of all, I appreciate the awkwardness of the Leonard Cohen, Alleluia, Silk Spectre, Midnight Owl, flamethrower fuck scene.
Oh my god. That felt like it belonged in a much dafter movie. That felt like it belonged in a Mystery Men level movie.
Hey! I will hear no smack about Mystery Men.
Oh, never. No.
I'm going to defend. I love Mystery Men. That's a great movie.
Mystery Men might be one of my favorite films where Tom Waits appears in a cameo.
It might be the best movie Michael Bay was involved in, for that matter.
Really?
Full circle. Nailed it. Yeah. High five. Yes.
Well done. Okay. Well, on that note, we should not talk any further about Mr. Bay and his oeuvre. Instead, we're here for some naked time. That is specifically the Star Trek original series episode, Naked Time. Please don't undress. Unless you're listening at home, in which case, do whatever you want.
I mean, we will be advertising my Ko-fi eventually, so just throwing that out there for cosplay people.
I mean, given the heat in both our countries right now, no shame.
Yeah. So, this was season 1, episode 6. It aired on the 29th of September 1966. Written by Jordan D.F. Black and directed by Mark Daniels. The UK number 1 hit was Jim Reeves with Distant Drums, which I'm sure we've seen many a time pop up in this era. And the US had the association with Cherish, which it feels like the kind of music that would only be in maybe a David Fincher film or a Tarantino, like some period piece where a murder is happening or someone's doing a kind of sinister stalking, and the cherishing is undertoned by all this creepiness.
Oh no, it would also be in an Edgar Wright film.
Okay, that's fair.
It'll be right in there in Hot Fuzz if he couldn't afford the rights to We Are the Village Preservation Society.
True. Yeah, I could see that.
I ended up really liking Cherish. At first I was like, okay, your first lyric's not a strong hook. I got it's basically the Webster's Dictionary defines cherish as a word and I'm like, okay, don't love that. But that when it got going, it was like I can kind of groove to this. I like this.
It's not quite free design kind of level for me. Like that, I felt a bit more kind of light and poppy with it compared to this. But yeah, it's fine.
So I hadn't heard Distant Drums before. So this was kind of a new experience for me. So as I'm listening to it, at first I'm like, okay, so we hadn't invented sleep medication yet. Is this about Vietnam? Wait, is this about Vietnam? That was my full thought process.
Yeah, I think I gave it a bit of flack the first time we covered it, and then it's like, oh no, and then you listen to it and go, okay.
Celeste,
this is
2 things. 1, Fortunate Song isn't the only 60s song about Vietnam. And 2, despite what people may think, the Monkees' Last Train to Clarksville is not actually a song about being drafted into Vietnam. That's just urban legend. But it is a cracking song, though.
Maybe it should be.
Yeah. I'm recapping this first one, so I'd best swig down some poly water.
Okay, Charlie, as always, you have 5 minutes to recount this episode. Don't take off a glove to scratch your nose in a contaminated area, because that'd be really fucking stupid.
You really would. Fucking Joe. Honestly.
God damn it, Joe. Right, and let the naked times begin.
So, the Enterprise is orbiting Psi 2000, an ice planet that's going to kind of explode or something. They're going to pick up some scientists from the planet and observe from a safe distance. Only, the scientists are all dead. Spock and his mate Joe check out the frozen bodies. Also, someone strangled a mannequin. I'm sorry, Dad. I'll put a trigger warning for you specifically in here. Joe takes his glove off to wipe his nose like an idiot that's never done this kind of thing before, and gets some drips of red on his hand without really noticing. The Enterprise is still going to watch this planet die, though. The lads beam back, get decontaminated, and all seem fine. Bones gets a bit racist about Spock again, and Joe's all itchy and upset. He doesn't like that people died, and that they didn't seem to care that they were dying. At a meeting, the crew go over the tapes, and it's like the people had no idea that they were dying. Maybe it's like they had some kind of space madness, and no one knows what gave it to them. At the break room, Joe gets some food and examines his clammy hand. Sulu walks in talking about his latest hyperfixation, fencing. Yeah, I can get behind this. He's eager to share this interest with his mate Riley. They tag Joe into the conversation and he snaps, slapping Sulu away and then having a rant that man wasn't meant to be in space. They have a bit of a fight and Joe got some jam on him. Oh no, it's time to go to the sick bay. Kirk says, I think we might have brought a new disease on board. Oh dear. Sulu and Riley They're on the bridge exhibiting some of the symptoms of it, with some weird tingling. As the Enterprise is getting pulled towards the shrinking planet, helmsmen are really necessary, but they're not concentrating. Sulu asks Riley if he wants to go to the gym, I assume for sex, and then just wanders off, like a kid running out of a classroom to skive, something I've seen many a time when I was younger. Joe is also getting worse, despite Bones' best efforts to heal him, and then he just dies. That was weird. Spock realizes that Sulu's snuck off, and Riley then puts on a really bad Irish accent and is sent to sickbay. He wanders in there, finds Nurse Chapel in her Star Trek debut, touches her chin, and then leaves, having infected her. Sulu is topless and running around the corridors with a rapier, pretending to be a musketeer, although I don't remember many topless musketeer scenes. He challenges random people to duels and chases them around the corridors. It's great fun. Spock posits that Riley and Sulu seem drunk and unlocking parts of themselves. Riley thinking as an Irish king, Sulu being a swashbuckler at heart. Kirk tries to leave the bridge, and BAM! Sulu's there! He whips his sword around really unprofessionally, frankly, as far as fencing goes, and gets nerve-pinched by Spock. Riley gets into engineering and is being a real dick. He locks everyone out, and this is terrible timing, because it's 20 minutes until the ship crashes into the dying planet. Scotty wants to cut through the wall, but there's a load of stuff in the way, and it's going to take some time. The ship is spiraling out, and a man is randomly laughing at a paintbrush, having painted "Love Mankind" on a wall, and frankly, that could be worse. Uhura gets annoyed with trying to silence Riley, but she's keeping on it. Spock goes to sickbay, and Chapel holds his hand, infecting him, just in case the nerve pinch didn't do it. She confesses her love to him, and he looks mortified. He runs off to his quarters and has a good cry, and needs to control his emotions. Scotty finally gets into engineering and needs too much time to get everything working. Sulu has a good scream and then sobers up. Bones has isolated the problem. It's the water. The water changed and somehow acts like alcohol when passed through skin. Kirk slaps some sense into Spock, saying need his math skills to help out. Spock slaps back and they have a rant about... Kirk has a rant about how he's not supposed to have a relationship. At least the ship's a woman. Is he going to fuck the ship? Luckily not right now. Not that we see, at least. Spock is a little more sensible and will formula a way out. Kirk goes up on the bridge past a sinner repent, straight out of a space horror, and Bones rips his shirt open to administer an antidote. No one else that has received the antidote has their top ripped by Bones. Anyway, they pull up... So close.
So close.
It needed to be pointed out, because I was watching. It was like, everyone else's shirt's intact. Bones, was this just a treat for you?
Charlie, quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Was Sci 2000 the best of the original run of Valiant comics back in the 90s?
I never read an old Valiant comic. I think... Was it? Actually, no. There was Robo Hunter versus RoboCop, I think. I think my brother had an issue of that. That might have been the closest.
I know, because Sci 2000 sounds like the most 90s comic title.
Oh, God, yeah. It sounds like Jim Shooter's making this one now, you know, whether it's a new universe or a Valiant comic.
It's on one end of the spectrum. The other most 90s title would be like Blood Murder Force or something like that.
It'd have to have blood in it, yeah.
I don't know. I would love a gritty, extreme 90s image comic called Love Mankind. And it's about a guy who loves mankind so much he's going to kill them all.
Okay.
Reasonable.
All right. Charlie, let's finish your synopsis. Go.
Okay. So, they pull up just in time, and all look really pained as it goes on. and the planet's just dust, but weirdly stationary dust, like something's hit the view screen. And yeah, now the Enterprise is moving faster than possible. Oh my god, they've ended up 3 days in the past. Oh well, it's not that big a deal, to be honest. They've got lost further back. So yeah, they'll take that as a win.
All right, that will be 31 seconds. Now, guys, quick question. What do Joe, the quarantine breaking idiot, and Padme Amidala both have in common?
They didn't wear their glove when they should have.
No, they both seemingly died having lost the will to live.
Oh, I was going to say, did they both die of a broken heart? Yeah, God, I know it's like the mid '60s, but after knifing Joe, the injury was literally just someone put some red on his uniform. There wasn't a rip in it. They didn't angle it away.
It's a fucking butter knife as well.
Mhm.
Yeah. What a way to
that was
go.
my thought during the scene. I'm like, whoa, look out, he's got a butter knife.
Look out, he's gonna butter someone's crumpets.
Yeah, it's like he might spread preserves on your food.
And he spread preserves on his shirt.
Yeah, and ever since finding out, I think pretty early on in Casual Trek, as ever, I was keeping an eye on Scotty's hands to go, am I seeing a missing finger there? And yeah, sure enough, there were some missing finger moments. I do kind of wish they'd have gone, yeah, fuck it, yeah.
Got a missing finger.
Yeah, sod it. Rather than all the
Very
times where he has to try and angle himself or only use one hand visibly.
But it's not like Buster Keaton, who famously had to wear a glove with fake fingers because he blew a bunch off doing some of his early tricks.
I thought you were going to say in a war, but no, just doing his tricks.
No.
Wow.
Okay. I kind of love watching the really early episodes of Star Trek when they're still trying to work out everything goes. And here, it's Spock wearing a black t-shirt.
Oh, that was weird.
It set the standard for J.J. Abrams' Trek, where Kirk spends the most of the first movie wearing a black long-sleeve shirt. So,
that's definitely a reference.
It was definitely a reference. Because if there's anything that J.J. Abrams is loyal to as far as canon goes, it's Star Trek. He cares very deeply about that. I can't say that with a straight face.
Yeah.
I can't say anything with a straight face because I'm not very straight, but still.
But like that, and also Spock making a pop culture reference, which always feels weird when Star Trek does that in general, because like they, at best, as far as I can tell, in the universe of Star Trek, of like the original and like the 1890s, early 2000s, culture just ended with the 1950s. Like jazz is the most revolutionary new form of music we've ever heard. So it even feels even weirder when you have Spock, the guy who is like a logical machine, saying "Get Dogtanian out of here" like he's a side extra in a Hill Street Blues.
It is a little bit weird that this is our first introduction to Nurse Chapel. Like it's kind of an unceremonious intro to such a beloved character.
It feels like she should have already been established the way she acts. Kind of slight pathos to her character in there, because she seems kind of, I don't know, a little downbeat and distracted anyway in the episode, even before getting infected.
Presumably they shot a bunch of episodes and they weren't sure what order they were going to air them in originally, but it was kind of an interesting, and I know part of that's also just from 60s TV, but it's such a weird way to introduce, again, one of the really iconic characters of the story.
And of course, this is one of those moments which is now made even more awkward by the fact that Spock and Nurse Chapel hooked up in Strange New Worlds, where before when she's like, I love you, And now it's just like, yeah, I know we kind of did the sex for a couple of weeks, and then you broke up with me with a Taylor Swift style musical number when we all went mad and started acting like we're in a musical. This is just like, I don't need this right now.
I have a younger coworker at the anime store I part time at, and she is super into original Star Trek. Like, she's more hardcore than, like, I don't know if we could have her on the show because she's not casual about it at all. She's a very hardcore Star Trek, and actually, that's been, I keep trying to get her to watch Strange New Worlds, and she really hates most of what she's seeing with what they've done with Spock, because so much of it seems to conflict with the Nimoy version, and that's, I'm not as bothered, but I don't think canon is as important as telling a good story. So
yeah, I mean, that's...
I can see it. Like, as much as I love the clip from the trailer for Strange New World Season 3, where Spock download too slows Vulcan Patton Oswalt, I'm still like, this doesn't seem kind of in tune with Spock. I'm going to enjoy it, but it's because like, canon is not real, but it's still...
The T'Pring stuff really bothers her. The fact that T'Pring is a recurring character at all really bothers her. But
you know, I don't mind, really. Again, it's one of those things of yeah. I mean, if that's your opinion, like, I remember with the J.J. Abrams reboot, my flatmate Ash, who was a massive Trekkie, like wall of Star Trek novels Trekkie, but was very upset that the windows were incorrect on the ship. I was like, yeah, sure, whatever, okay.
I'm never gonna care about that stuff. I'm gonna be honest with, if someone's like, oh, but this version of the Enterprise is so many meters bigger than this version, I am going to look at you and say, I do not care.
Yeah, if you get something out of that, then good for you. Live your best life. I just can't. I can't.
I'm a Doctor Who fan. I have seen far too many arguments online about the size of the TARDIS being non-consistent with a prop from the 1960s. Why do you think in the Capaldi era they keep making snide comments about the size being different of the Capaldi TARDIS? It's because fans bitch that the TARDIS is bigger in the modern series than it was in the classic series. But then again, this is Doctor Who. There's definitely a fan out there who complains when it turns out that the grandfather is not a freaky child molester and is actually a space alien.
I mean, to be fair, I do remember when the RTD series was new, and there were Doctor Who fans complaining that there was a Murray Gold score instead of a guy with a kazoo. So no, I don't care what they have to say. Like,
no.
Look, there are people complaining about the loss of the middle 8 of the classic Who theme tune with the Murray Gold score. These people are not well.
Yeah.
Anyway, to get back to something.
Speaking of people not being well, yeah, do you think Riley could ever show his face to anyone after getting on the PA and all of what he said and did during that? Like, was that the fastest transfer off the ship?
No, because he's still on the ship. He's the guy.
What?
He's in Conscience of the King. He's the other person who was there at the massacre who gets poisoned by the spring bottle.
God.
That's Riley.
So he got transferred straight to hell.
Yeah.
So, like, he probably just went, yeah, I have a lot of unresolved trauma from that fucking massacre I saw as a kid.
God, so yeah, that's 6 more episodes that he existed on the Enterprise before dying. Then, so
I just say Riley's little jaunt around the corridors of the Enterprise was how I would make my way through the hotel when I had to go to the manager's office to be told what to do. I'm not just a kind of not actually gonna do my job.
Yeah, I had a friend at sixth form, Gary, who would often do things like pretend to be a bin and whenever he got sent to whenever he got told off and sent out of the class, you'd see him kind of swanning into other classrooms
Okay.
and having a chat with folks.
Celeste.
Yeah.
Bin is what you colonials call trash can.
Yeah, I know. I listen. I watch a lot of stuff from your transphobic island. Okay, like I know a thing or two.
Wow. Oh dear.
Don't make me start knowing your folklore better than you. I'll do it. I'm gonna write a King Arthur book someday, probably.
Yes, because how can you threaten me with something you have done to me multiple times?
That's true. That's true. I'm gonna keep doing it then.
You know, you remember, Charlie? Remember when we watched Dweller in the Deep, and I asked if this is the first time Spock calls Kirk Jim? I think this is it. I think this is the first time we hear him call him Jim.
It might well be. Yeah. So we're going to have this in The Naked Now, especially, but I'm not like any of these drunks when I drink. Like, I guess the closest would be Sulu, but only because of a hyperfixation on fencing and such, and even that, like, luckily I've never owned my own blade, so I've fenced with a broom and with a replica of Sting before, but yeah,
I have way too many swords in this house. I'm not even kidding.
I am not surprised at all.
I have way too many swords in this apartment, but they're all my wife's.
Yeah, I know. I've definitely been the Spock. I'm going to quietly just run to my room and then have a cry kind of drunk before. I think a lot of us have been.
Yeah,
I don't see the me kind of drunk where I don't drink very often because my both sides of my family are like predisposed to alcoholism, and I don't want to play Russian roulette with five chambers loaded. But the times when I have let myself drink, I mostly just get really huggy, and I didn't see anyone just being like, "You're the best. You're getting hugs now. Hugs now. I'm so pretty."
That would have been great with Spock. If he just started hugging everyone, instead of having a good cry, he just hugged random crew members and just went, "You get hugs now."
This huggy Spock.
Actually,
hugs are nice.
Bones would be great as that. After all of this time, if it turns out he's just a fairly affectionate drunk. Yeah, I say all this because you're my best friend, Spock.
I love it. Thing that I also love about this episode, like completely sincerely, I like that they just time travel for no reason. It has no bearing on the story. It's just before the credits we're gonna time travel. Why? Oh.
We're gonna introduce that we can time travel. Will we do anything with it? Yeah, maybe.
I know later on that assumption that it's just a weird fucking universe. Like, this kind of shit happens all the time is fairly common in like lower decks, but seeing that happen here and go 3 days in the past, well, let's not repeat those 3 days. It's like,
I think if I travel back in time to back 3 days, I think my first would be like, do I get paid for these? Do I still get paid for these 3 days I'm reliving?
See, at least they don't have to have that kind of concern in that world. Like, if I did, God, where would I go? Like, there would be a three days of me living here in the house, and a past me didn't show up. So
clearly, future you who went back in time is doing Back to the Future 2 style shenanigans in the background of your life. So those three unconscious dudes who are knocked out of a sandbag, that was future you, and you have to make sure that happens. You also cause a paradox.
Well, yeah, and obviously it's not primer mechanics because I'm not like shut in somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I am shut in here, so time traveling Charlie might be elsewhere in the house. Hopefully, not eating all of my fabs from the freezer.
So maybe this kind of went to the pub, and just said, "Yeah, hi, we went back in time 3 days, so we're just taking these 3 days off."
Well, yeah, did they go 3 days, like with 3 days in the past, Starfleet, and they'll be like, oh yeah, that happens. It's like, cool, so do we, can we just take 3 days off? Can we just, like go to Riser for a little bit? Or like,
it's got to be one where Robert April's like, yeah, that's bound to happen. Just call it a wash. You guys can have
yeah, exactly. Just don't get in the way of the Enterprise that's on its way to this ice planet.
There is a big book on the Admiral's shelf, which is, so your ship has traveled back in time. What do we do?
Yeah, and I don't normally point out the bad effects or props as much because I just love them in this. But the mannequin dead body woman that had been strangled, specifically because my dad collects them, so it was like, oh no, oh god. I know my dad didn't watch Doctor Who for many years after being scared of it as a child, so it's like, okay, did he end up not watching Star Trek after seeing a mannequin get
I mean, in his defense, the scene in Doctor Who when the shop window dummies come to life and start butchering people has made me side-eye shop window dummies my entire life.
Oh yeah, definitely. Which makes being in a house with about 8 of them an interesting experience.
I just made my wife watch Spearhead from Space like a week ago. It's weird that we're getting back to this.
So, Charlie, what is scarier to you, mannequins or fucking owls?
I mean, it's fucking owls. Like we had a mannequin in the house growing up. We had Clive, who was dressed as a fireman but with a World War One gas mask, and had like CND badges all over him. So it took me until my 20s to realise people didn't just have a mannequin around, And then by that point, my dad, after being burgled, got one mannequin, Deirdre, who ran the house.
Oh,
and
Deirdre!
Then when he moved, it was what? Deirdre, Dolly and Dottie are the twins that are currently dressed in my dad's mum's wedding dress and my stepmother's mum's wedding dress at the top of some stairs to give like a double Havisham. There's Doris, who's the PA. Daphne, that was it. Daphne was the first one, then Deirdre, then the twins, Demelza, who's a little girl, and distressingly, there's a baby that my dad bought from eBay to put black wings on and hang from the ceiling, and its name was Charlie.
Okay, so Celeste, we're done here.
I was going to say, so for the listeners at home who maybe this is a new episode for you, maybe you're checking this out because you're familiar with my stuff, why I'm so willing to front load that I watch lesbian rock bondage anime is because this is what I have to compete with. I just want to put that out there.
Celeste, as I keep saying to you, we're British. We're not well. We've not been. We weren't well before we were born.
I mean,
like our grandparents weren't well before they were born. We're from that island. We're all wrong inside.
Isn't that just what The Wall was about? Am I misremembering that album?
No, that's very much right.
That just okay.
So, on that note, if we've got nothing further to cover for this one, I realise we're 50 minutes in already for one episode. We're going to rank this on a big list of best to worst because I know we're going to spend some time talking about the next episode.
Oh boy.
So, quickly, we have our big list of best to worst, which is currently handily at 169 items, with number 1 as Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. Our 69th episode is Discovery with the Vulcan Hello, Battle at the Binary Stars. And at the very bottom, of course, it's still Star Trek Section 31. A film which, despite having Michelle Yeoh in it, does not fuck. It just doesn't. So, where on earth do we put The Naked Time? a very silly episode.
It's a silly episode, but I feel it's still pretty good.
It's kind of peak classic Star Trek, despite being incredibly, or perhaps because it's incredibly silly.
Like, it's silly, but it never feels like it's playing the comedy episode, because, like, as we're gonna get into when we get to the next episode,
oh boy,
whenever Star Trek feels like it has to be funny, it really kind of revolves to, we're gonna have our characters, our cast, act like idiots, and we're gonna call that human until we get Ferengis on the cast, because we can just give them the comedy episodes. Whereas this one, it still feels like, while the characters are all going insane, it's not being played for comedy. Thank God.
It does feel like the stakes. Yeah, it's kind of, despite being an incredibly silly episode. Yeah, it's. I meant what I said. It's kind of peak Star Trek.
Yeah. I mean, I would put it on. I would rank it as number 69 purely for George Takei's nipples, which we did not speak about enough. But then again, everyone else has.
Yeah, there are models, like multiple models of him topless running around with a fencing.
I mean,
floor.
if my chest looked that good, I would run around topless with a fencing foil.
As I say, hot young George Takei is not something anyone's going to complain about.
Yeah, like, no. that is an attractive, charming man.
Yeah, apparently it was decided that it'd be fencing when, what was it? I think one of the writers or someone went into his trailer and was like, right, yes, you, topless fencing. So, we're not going to do anything specifically like Japanese or anything with it. We're just going to go, yeah, fuck it, Musketeers. Yeah. Why not? People can have interests. And, yeah. Okay, so, like, our current 69, as I said, was Vulcan Hello Battle at the Binary Stars. This is definitely better than that, but looking above, is it better than the Homecoming Circle Siege trilogy?
Ooh.
I don't think so, because even even though, like, I still have a few qualms, I feel as a three-parter goes, it's a pretty strong for an early Deep Space Nine. Also, yeah. Odo has a friend, and I feel like sometimes that needs to be highlighted, that even Odo can have a friend.
Okay, well, for now, that puts this at number 69. Something which may change, but seeing the next episode, not soon. So, episode 2 tonight, the second part of the thrilling Naked duology, is Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 1, Episode 3, titled The Naked Now. Yes, once again, this is one of those episodes where this is the main event. This is what we knew you all came here for. It aired on the 5th of October 1987, teleplay by J. Michael Bingham, aka DC Fontana, who took her name off it after a lot of changes to the script. Story by John D.F. Black and J. Michael Bingham, again, and directed by Paul Lynch, apparently a very enthusiastic English person who went, and action! To the point where Brent Spiner did say, excuse me, could we get one more and?
Of course you did, Brent. Of course you did.
Of course. The UK number one hit was Mars with Pump Up the Volume and Anatina as a double A side. And it's alright. It makes me want to listen to Big Audio Dynamite as far as that kind of 1980s British music goes.
It was fine.
I admit, like, I couldn't help but think of Technotronic's Pump Up the Jam. As pop thanks to Philomena Crunk. As the great pump up dance song of the 80s/90s period.
But that's the thing, is that I saw the title and then I was listening to it and I'm like, this is fine, but then I wanted to listen to Pump Up the Jam, which is a much better
Yeah,
song. It just is.
it really is.
I can help with Pump Up the Jam. I can't help but think of I think it's the Auronauts Dark Knight Rises dub video, where as the Batwing is flying off with the nuclear bomb, you can hear Pump Up the Jam being played over the Batwing speakers as he's just flying off
Wow.
to sacrifice his life.
The US #1 hit was Whitney Houston with Didn't We Almost Have It All, which it's fine. It sounds very like it should be in some kind of musical biopic kind of thing. Like, good amount of schmaltz. The music video I watched basically edited together other music videos of her, so none of the like mouth movements match. And again, it looks like some kind of montage of, oh, is this a kind of her rise and fall and rise again kind of thing? And
I'm going to be honest, I have a huge soft spot for cheesy romance slow dance songs, especially from the 80s. Like, if it weren't for the rampant homophobia, I would have been, it's almost that thing of, oh, I would time travel and just be me slow dancing to stuff like this and, Crazy for You by Madonna, and I'd be just as happy as a clam in the 80s if I could. Like, I have a huge soft spot for cheesy slow dance romance songs from the 80s. So not gonna lie, this really scratched an itch for me.
I mean, all I could say is you're right, Whitney. We could have had it all, but then the British majority elected Thatcher, and thus we couldn't have anything good ever again.
yeah.
Similar,
And on
but
that note,
replace British with American and Thatcher with Reagan.
yeah. On that note, Mars, you have a whole 5 minutes to recap this legendary episode. So get fully functional and get recapping.
So, I'll be honest, it's basically the same plot as The Naked Time, but, instead of it being a planet, it's a spaceship. They all froze to death, and hang on, the ship is called the Tchaikovsky. I'm just going to call it the Tchaikovsky. Geordie goes on to investigate, and he gets infected by, like, the weird kooky madness stuff, and he starts kind of agonizing about the fact that he's blind, even though he can see better than anyone. But he just wants to look at Tasha Yar and infects Tasha. As the plague spreads, people are gonna go crazy like they did in The Naked Time. Wesley is working on a tractor beam because it's Wesley Crusher. He just does stuff that inherently means that if he were in an actual public school, he would get beaten up and get, like, swirlied in the toilets. There's a star that's gonna go supernova, but better hope no one goes crazy and starts fucking with the ship systems. Oh no! Tasha gets infected by Geordie. Tasha starts mincing around the ship and kissing random guys, which, squad goals. Picard is just being very kind of, Riker is the only one doing anything of actual use by having Data go through old case files of the Enterprise so they can find out that, oh, this happened before in The Naked Time. Meanwhile, things are getting worse. People are getting infected. Wesley gets infected and takes over the engineering, but thankfully does not sing. Instead becomes really earnest and chipper, like Adric from Doctor Who on A Bad Case of Uppers. Data goes to Tasha because Tasha's being horny on main. And here's the thing: nearly everyone remembers from this episode. Tasha, now dressed in a very kind of slinky, like almost 5 years before it would be goth kind of number with plenty of underboob. It's kind of her Goblin Queen from the X-Men cosplay. Asks Data if he's fully functional, and Data's like, yeah. And Tasha taps that. It's a good old Tasha tapping. Meanwhile, Beverly has been infected by Wesley while she's trying to find a cure because the original cure from The Naked Time isn't working. Now she's horny on main. and thus she infects Captain Picard, who starts grunting like a weird Welshman. I don't know what the hell his kind of was. I don't know if it was meant to be doing his French kind of thing, but Picard just starts getting really ineffectual and sleazy. The star starts exploding. Deanna gets horny for Will, who she's calling Bill, because we're still in that weird early era of TNG. Will, even though he's infected, is able to kind of, run around the ship like a crazy blue-ass fly, making sure everyone's kind of doing shit. Everyone but Worf on the bridge is getting infected. Picard's curled up in a fetal position, sobbing and crying. They get in. They get Data. They realize that, Data has to fix the ship's systems really quickly before they get hit by a star. But the ship, the Tchaikovsky, which they have on a tractor beam, Wesley realizes that he could just reverse the polarity of the neutron flow, sending the Tchaikovsky into the course of the star, getting blown up instead of the Enterprise. Data is able to put everything back in its place. The day is saved. Beverly has worked out a cure because everyone is fucking right now. And the day is saved, and Tasha tells Data that they're never going to speak of this again. And thus, no one on the Enterprise is ever going to speak of this again. Unlike The Naked Time.
Wow, that's 30 seconds under.
Wow.
Which means between us, we basically evened out.
So I want to give a shout out to DC Fontana again. DC, I call you Dorothy. I know last time I was praising you for understanding why so many of us were horny for Spock, and you did a great job there. I want to praise you this time for being smart enough to take your name off this tripe. Dear God.
Yeah, I didn't realize how often that seemed to happen between the original series and early TNG, but
this is the rubbish season 1 TNG I remember. This is why I don't like going back to the early TNG. Like, wow.
This is the... Okay, I have a question. We are all people who watch far too much TV.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so, say you're a brand new show. You spend your pilot episode establishing the core cast. What do you do for your second episode to make sure you keep your interest? Do you want to do, say, like an X-Files, where they introduce a new side character, but emphasize Mulder's obsession with finding out the truth might be causing him a lot of problems down the line? Do you do, like, say, a modern Doctor Who, where you have Rose from 2005 taken to see literally the world explode in a ball of fire because the Doctor is so damaged from his trauma that this is the only way he knows how to communicate with another person, by removing them so completely out of their context? Or, say, an episode of Lost, where they dick around on an island a bit more, because that's what they're doing for 6 seasons. Or do you do an episode where all your cast are reduced to blithering idiots?
Well, obviously, it's that last one, especially if it's a sequel to an episode of television from several decades earlier that people might not have seen. In fact, doubly so.
Yeah, I mean, people did accuse them of plagiarism, and it's like, well, the story is by DC Fontana and the original writer. But yeah, a good first chunk of the episode, I was like, did they just, like, amend names on the script? Like, how close it felt. Like, it's a ship instead of a space base, it's a star instead of a planet, but again, you're just doing Mad Libs kind of stuff there.
Even like the musical score in this episode was like the same bum 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 bum, like 60s Trek Mission Impossible style.
I can't remember a lot of the early music cues from TNG season 1. I can't remember if that was just like if they were trying to do a kind of updated version of the 60s music before finding their own kind of, their own musical score as time went on, or they just intentionally played up this is a throwback because this is a throwback.
I mean, we've seen before that they go on to use a lot of abandoned Phase 2 scripts. and things like that. Like, at least I guess that's better than going, yeah, we're pretty much beat for beat doing the previous one.
But wow, this is such a worse episode in every conceivable way. Like,
Yeah. I mean, this one is a full out and out. Is this one actually meant to be a comedy? Because
oh god, yeah, it definitely feels it.
You have Picard's weird skipping into the room when he's going to see Beverly in sickbay. That kind of.
Now I've done that skip when I've been drunk. I've also fallen off the walls when drunk, so I get it.
Have you, when an attractive redhead is putting the moves on you, just started? I don't know if it's grunting or laughing. Gonna.
No, again, that's where this Spock reaction of run into the next room and cry comes in. But yeah, no, that weird. I get that he wanted to show that maybe he's being affected or trying to fight being infected, but it did feel
it just feels like,
was he having a sinus problem and everyone assumed it was acting?
He turned into both Beavis and Butthead simultaneously.
I don't know, he just kind of turned into like a sleazy northern guy in a pub nursing a pint.
Well, these guys, you can tell they're a lot more Type A than the original series, because Bev is space drunk, but still doing her best to work and being like, yep, keeping going. It doesn't matter. It's like when I started drinking, one of my first big panics was, oh no, I need to go and let the dog out. Literal, not metaphor, because no one else was there to let the dog have a pee. So I fled from where I was drinking up the road back home, let him out, and then it started to become embedded as a habit. Like I would let the dog out. I might do some bits of tidying up. Like drunk me was very good at getting some shopping in. So sober me the next day would be like, past Charlie bought me bagels. Oh,
I think the worst thing I've ever had to do while drunk was, I don't know if I've told the story on the podcast before. One time I worked in a hotel. It's come up once or twice, I know, and
just once or twice.
At the end of like one session of Christmas parties, we took all the leftover booze and we had ourselves a very big, just to celebrate getting through Christmas parties. And I got, shall we say, drunk. And before we left, we were told, oh wait, you need to move. A sofa needs to be moved from one room, literally 20 feet into the next room. And I made the mistake of volunteering, at which point I become a giggly bitch while trying to help lift and carry a sofa into the next room, while also falling over the sofa and cackling.
Oh god. Wow. Oh, I'm just looking at my notes and saw, here's a question for you both. Was Drunk Wes, Drunk Wes was drunk in the nerdiest way.
Yeah.
But was he better or worse than when Peter Parker acted like the doofus version of being evil in Spider-Man 3?
Okay.
Because it felt very similar.
Okay, to defend doofus Spider-Man 3 Peter Parker, I like the fact that the Venom symbiote in that film doesn't make him evil. It just makes him a more toxic Ayn Rand obsessing. It turns him basically into a more aggressive Steve Ditko. It turns him into an objectivist. Meanwhile, Wesley, he just becomes that guy who just wants to please everyone. But then he already wants to please everyone. It's just like he's just more fawning about it.
Just worse, and locking everyone out of engineering, going, no, I'm going to be captain, and with his fraud machine that imitated Picard. It's like, guys, someone's got to keep an eye on this. Like, what on earth is that for? Aside from he can make himself feel important by getting Picard going, I respect you, Wesley. A phrase he would never say willingly.
Wesley Crusher, a nerd too repressed to even write his own self-insert Star Trek fanfic.
Yeah, God. So I remember Will Wheaton used to have blog posts, some of which got turned into his memories from the future, where he'd been tasked with reviewing Star Trek: The Next Generation season 1, and he only got halfway through. And I revisited my ebook copy of it, which it's definitely from a different era, as even someone who is generally quite nice and progressive uses gay a lot in those reviews.
Oh, dear.
They definitely feel of a time. But yeah, it's interesting seeing his take, most of which is his own utter self-hatred of him as Wesley, and of the very, like, how much it felt like they wanted to get him bullied by doing all of this. And so yeah, I can assume Wesley never drank again. Like, not that he was really drunk here, he was space drunk, but still. It's like, yep, that's it.
I am surprised.
Again, how he would show his face anywhere after taking over the ship in the worst, dumbest
I am
way.
surprised when Picard goes down to like the engineering and Riker's like, well, he did save us, so maybe we could mention that in the log. I'm surprised Picard just go, oh, I'll mention it in the log, and just slap Wesley around the ear roll.
Oh, it's going in his permanent report. Yeah.
He just does a full on Dad's Army. You stupid boy.
TV was so into this idea, especially in the late 80s, early 90s, of having the kid sidekick character and trying to, and like really having the writing of the episode bend over backwards to tell you that this little kid is important, and they're always the most insufferable character. I mean, Wesley gets out better than like Swamp Thing the series had a little boy named Jim, who at the end of the first season gets human trafficked by Dr. Arcane, and then they never rescue him for the rest of the show. Like, it's just a recurring thing that Jim, the little boy, got kid trafficked by Dr. Arcane. He has an older brother named Will, and they never save him. 3 seasons.
Look, that is still a better fate for him than Adric, who causes the extinction of the dinosaurs by crashing a spaceship into Earth. Unfortunately, he was also on the spaceship when it happened.
Yeah, your favorite Fifth Doctor story. We know.
Actually, yeah, again, but I feel like even the writers are treating Adric as this annoying little shit.
Yeah, I get the impression that I can't tell. I actually get the impression that someone was trying to endear the audience to Wesley, and they're doing all the wrong. It's like Will Smith trying to make us like his son. It's just not working.
I think the problem with, like, they're writing a teenage audience surrogate character for Star Trek, and they essentially wrote a Star Trek nerd. Yeah, of course, the Star Trek nerds are gonna hate him. I mean, like,
what, that mirror up there for them to peck against?
Pretty much. I mean, at least Jake Sisko is nowhere near as annoying in Deep Space Nine. Although Jake Sisko gets a lot less to do, but you get the feeling that Jake Sisko is kind of cool.
Jake also doesn't want to be a Starfleet officer, and is insufferable about it.
Jake just wants that's Nog. Jake just wants to be a writer and pull attractive dubbo girls. That kid is living the dream.
Honestly, yeah.
Well, I don't know. Wesley feels like if Kitty Pryde was done wrong, then you would get a Wesley of this hyper-competent nerd child that is hanging around with a lot of adults and, you know, probably shouldn't be, but at least with Kitty, you've got a lot of emotions and a lot of teenageness, and, you know, she will fuck up a lot.
And also with Kitty, you've got Storm, who's kind of, you know, being the big sister, and Wolverine, who is get away from me, kid. I don't stick my neck out for nobody, but I will actually stick my neck out for you all the time. And then eventually he goes, okay, kid, I'm going to train you how to become a ninja. Meanwhile, Riker is doing the storm, kind of being the surrogate big brother. And Picard is like, get the child away from me. I don't want him within 20 feet of me.
I mean,
It's going to have germs. Please move it away.
not everyone is being set up to realize that Big Mutants, or Big Brothers, Big Mutants is his calling, like Wolverine was. But you know,
like Picard probably has like a bottle of like a spray bottle. Anytime Wesley gets on the bridge, and he's just gonna sprays him away like shoo.
No.
Now, you understand how many parents send their children up to speak to me in order to put it in their application forms for Starfleet. God.
Okay.
Actually, so another thing, right? Data being fully functional and programmed in a broad variety of techniques. What was Soong doing? Was he his dad or his daddy?
Okay, I think
Dorothy, please tell me you wrote that part. Please, I'm begging you.
I think we were discussing this on the group chat. For those not in the know, Charlie, Celeste, myself, and Sean Orange, who was meant to be on this episode, love you, Sean. You don't pay for Twitter. We have a Facebook group called the Section 31 Rehabilitation Society because we had to watch that shit show for the show. We love you. And I think I've solved why Lore is evil. And I think it's because Lore has emotions, but Soong didn't give him a penis. So Lore is basically as anatomically prepared as either a Ken doll or Alan Rickman in the movie Dogma. Meanwhile, Data has no emotions and is like walking around with an armadillo down his trousers, but doesn't want to fuck ever. So clearly, this is why Lore is evil.
The three people other than Miles and me who watched Android Kikaider the animation got to that scene and were like, finally, someone else gets it. Like.
I loved when Data when Data was about to score and he had the expression of it on his face of, let's be honest, it's the expression Wesley Crusher would have the day he finally cashes in his virginity card, which is like the awkward gawky face of, I'm gonna score.
You could see Brent Spiner gulp in that scene. It's like, yeah, fair.
It's such a... Boy, why did Denise Crosby want to leave this show? They were giving her such great material to work with.
Okay, so I have a quick question for you, Celeste. How drag is Denise Crosby in femme presenting when she gets infected? Because you have, like, she is literally mincing. She is sashaying through the Enterprise corridors.
It was my favorite. It was probably my favorite part of the episode. It was like she turned into so for some people it turns them insufferable and drunk for our security officer, nope, she just turned into the most the theater kid who had the best charisma to annoying factor when you were in high school. It's like, yeah, they're annoying, but they're pretty charismatic. They can get away with it. You know what? So yeah, like a god tier theater kid. Honestly, that's what they turned Tasha Yar into. I was here.
I liked her costume. Not so much of a fan of like her Lair of the White Worm horror vampire hairstyle with like the little Superman S curl. Like the outfit, 10 out of 10. Denise Crosby in the outfit, 10 out of 10. Denise Crosby's hair and hair person out the airlock.
Yeah, what was going on there? That was very strange. It was.
Also, what planet did they need that costume for? Because after going through Troy's ugliest clothes, she was like, "It's fine. I'll go to the ship stores." So yeah, yeah, I guess they have this.
I mean, they might need an outfit for Planet Fuck. Okay, not Planet Fuck because they went there and Wesley ruined everything. Planet Fuck 2.0.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So, on our big list, this was fun to talk about, but fucking hell, it was a mess.
Awful episode.
Really? So, I'm trying to have a look for a bit of a mess. Like, my eyes went to 111 with Menage a Troy, but that was better.
I'm kind of looking closer to Charlie X down at 128, like in that.
Actually, yeah. Yeah. That's a good shout. Like, in a way, it's iconic, but not in a way it wants to be. Which Charlie X also.
I mean, Charlie X is 128. At 129 is Space Seed. At 130, we have the Changeling with Kirk's metal son. So after Charlie X, we have a run of some pretty good episodes. Oh, okay, all right. Look, everyone, look at 132. You know what we're gonna. You know what we have to do. It's traditional. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Alan Moraine, move along home. Which I'll be honest. I fucking love Move Along Home. It's not ironic. Yeah. It's just like I love this dumb, goofy episode where they're basically doing like a crap version of the Crystal Maze.
Yeah, it deserves to be in 132, but that will not stop me defending it as a really fun episode.
I mean, at 135 we have Prodigy's Let Sleeping Borg Lie, which is a good Borg episode.
It's a good Borg. I don't want to put down Let Sleeping Borg Lie. That was a good one.
Okay, so at 141 there's Justice, where Wesley ruins the aforementioned trip to Planet Fuck, which is probably also better.
Yeah. Oh my god.
And has a lot more cardio. Unless you're Riker, who is quite literally going everywhere around the ship in this episode.
Okay, I think I see. Like Spectre of the Gun with the Wild West, like half-built Wild West town. That's good fun. Last Outpost with the Ferengi being really unpleasant and hopping around. I think it's like between there, maybe. I can't think that Last Outpost would be better than this. I don't know. It's difficult because even at the start, Data's acting still feels like he's not got it yet.
No,
he's not landed.
They're still doing the thing where like Data is questioning every kind of weird expression and phrase.
Yeah, all of that. Oh, a pun, and then an explanation, like he's somehow being written by Ernest Cline. Okay, 146. We got Encounter at Farpoint.
I think I'd put it a little. I think I'd put it under The Last Outpost, but above Home, because I will still take this over post 9/11 Enterprise.
Okay, quick question. Whenever we saw close-ups of Picard in this episode, do you think we're still seeing Patrick Stewart kiss his career away in real time?
Oh, absolutely. Hard agree on that one.
An amount of it. I wonder if, was he actually drinking in this? There is some acting, but it's not good. There are some questionable choices, and it's either him phoning it in to go, I'll do stuff. You want me to act drunk? Oh, I'll act.
Well, the Royal Shakespeare Theatre's never calling me again. It's over.
Call the RSC. Patty's coming home. Patrick Stewart's just standing there on the bridge of the set of the Enterprise and just thinking, I'm gonna sink this bitch and make my way back to England.
This is.
Little did he know, 6 more years.
I'm never going to play Claudius again, am I?
Well, he didn't play Claudius.
That's true.
Derek Jacobi plays Claudius.
We did. Well, now he can do it, though.
Look, here's the thing.
140.
I've seen Patrick Stewart in his first film role in the movie Life Force. And he's still better in that than in this. That said, Life Force
Wow.
is a fucking amazing film. Everyone should watch it. There is actual genuine expressions of fear on like background actors as to like, I don't know how to play this. I'm going to try really hard not to corpse on camera.
I love
No.
young Patrick Stewart yelling, "If the sword chose a boy, then a boy shall be king." Because
I love
Excalibur is
And that is such a Patrick Stewart line as well. That is what you
young
want him
Patrick
to deliver.
Stewart in Dune going, Mood's a thing for cattle and love play. Now we fight. Wow.
These are all better Patrick Stewart performances than what are in this episode. We must agree.
And on that note, The Naked Now rests easy at the 145th place. And
stay down there.
So, our final episode of the night. It was tricky finding something suitable to fit the naked duology, such legends as we have covered. But, of course, Lower Decks has us covered. So, we have Season 4, Episode 5, Empathalogical Fallacies, which aired on the 28th of September 2023. It was written by Jamie Loftus of 16 Minutes of Fame and possibly the 4 Grand Rapids Murders of 2009. It was directed by Megan Lloyd. And the UK number 1 was Doja Cat with Paint the Town Red, which we talked about recently. And I have a role-playing game of a similar name, well, the exact same name on pre-order, about sad gay vampires by Soul Muppet, which the demo looked very fun.
I like it.
And the US,
It was good.
the US had Olivia Rodrigo with Vampire, which is good. I enjoy it, but also I really love Paul F. Tompkins's cover of it that you can find on YouTube and is very good.
I hadn't actually. I'd heard parts of Vampire before. I hadn't sat down and listened to the song. I'm very glad I did. I actually loved that. That was a very good musical experience for me. And I'm also a huge fan of Jamie Loftus, so I was very excited to jump in on this. This is an audio format; you can't see it, but I have her hot dog book like right here with me. I have been reading it. It is the funniest book about hot dogs I've ever read.
And what is the title of said book for the folks at home?
The title of Jamie Loftus's book that you should absolutely go out and read is Raw Dog: The Naked Truth About Hot Dogs, and it is a history of the hot dog itself, also the weirdly racist history of the Nathan's hot dog eating contest, written by a very, very funny woman who may have had a crush on Joey Chestnut for a while. So it's fantastic.
So Celeste is our guest. It's up to you now to recap this in the truncated, animated 3 minutes. So, time to get one of those really long cocktail drinking glasses, and time to get recapping now.
All right, we open with Talin escorting some ambassadors from Beta Z. They are 3 MILFs named Dolorix, Catrot, and Cathwy, or Cathy, with a W at the end. Captain Freeman really wants them to be entertained, and they are already day drunk. When one of them tries hitting on Ransom is all about it until it turns out that they only want guys who are hard to get, which leaves Ransom just disappointed for the rest of this story. Also, we find out from Dr. Ta'ana that Katians ate Betazoids? What? Talin is very annoyed with this assignment and with their rowdiness. Honestly, she just wants to call back to her home ship, where she originally came from, and talk with the Vulcans, but according to Mariner, there's a full security blackout while the Betazoids are on board. So, meanwhile, Boimler is trying to memorize all of the crew now that he's a Lieutenant JG. Rutherford is worried about him and recommends to Shax that he should join the program. T'Lyn is getting restless and just really wants to contact the Vulcans, though, and finally decides to bring herself down to the big Beta Z party that everyone else is at. And both Mariner and Tindy are ecstatic to see her there, but then it's pretty clear that it's not the normal weird and yelling that they're used to. Everyone's being a little bit more weird than normal. He's screaming, getting naked, shooting the replicator. Maybe this isn't the normal kind of party on the Cerritos. Captain Freeman also realizes that something is wrong, but when she tells them to get their act together, the crew boos her. Meanwhile, Boimler is going to a quiet part of the ship with Shax to avoid any interruptions. And when Shax welcomes him in, he finds that there's a whole bunch of security officers doing slam poetry, one of them doing it about Worf. Back at the party, no one's listening to Captain Freeman. T'Lyn thinks that the Betazoids are causing this. Xanthi fever, a thing that can happen to older Beta Zeds, older Beta Z women, can cause empathetic abilities to be broadcast. And T'Lyn just wants to open comms. But Freeman says no, because she doesn't want the ship to look bad, and Dr. T'Ana has basically turned into a feral cat, but tries to keep her biscuits. This show is dense. I just want to take a minute while we're...
No, that's fair.
I'm blown away by how dense the 25-minute episodes of Lower Decks are. There's so much in them.
I hadn't noticed until we were starting to recap them. And now it's like, actually, when you pay attention to them, fucking hell.
There's so much going on in these. All right, let's see if I can wrap this up.
And go.
So eventually the Beta Z MILFs do agree to go to sickbay, but they do telepathically conspire when they're asked to go over there. T'Ana says they're pathogen-free, and there's nothing wrong with them, but does call them morsels. The Beta Z MILFs respond that they're not old enough for Xanthi fever and are quite offended. Freeman still doesn't trust them and is getting pretty strung out herself. However, the Beta Z MILFs decide that they need to blow their cover and attack. They knock out Mariner, T'Ana, and T'Lyn and take Freeman hostage. Meanwhile, Boimler is not having a good time with security until he comes to the conclusion that it's a test. And then Shax promises that he has a ritual. Choose either an Enterprise puzzle or tarot cards. Boimler is not happy about this either. Shax concludes that because of his response, he's chosen to do both. Meanwhile, we find out that the three Beta Z MILFs are actually intelligence officers, and they decide to storm the bridge. Freeman still accuses them of manipulating their emotions, but the three of them deny it. They're actually looking for things related to the arc-long Big Bad that we're not going to get into today. They decide to take a shortcut back to Beta Z, but it's going to take them right through the neutral zone. Freeman says the crew will realize something is off any second now. We cut to the crew drunkenly forming a human pyramid. T'Ana breaks herself, Mariner, and T'Lyn free, but runs off like a feral cat again to scratch doors and carpets. Her abandoned tricorder, though, does show the source of the psychic disturbance is not the Beta Zeds. It's T'Lyn. Bendy syndrome, a Vulcan thing where if they're under great deals of stress, they can start psychically broadcasting. T'Lyn is shocked by this as she's only 62. Vulcans don't get worked up, she says. Mariner still convinces her that they need to go take action in order to save the ship. Freeman, back on the bridge, convinces the MILFs that she has intel the Romulans can't have, and so Dolorix tries to read her mind, only to find memories of the other Beta Zeds throwing shade at her. The three of them fight. Meanwhile, back in security, Boimler is very disappointed by the tarot deck. Every card is rebirth. But when red alert goes off, they spring into action, leaving Boimler kind of straggling behind. Mariner and T'Lyn catch up with the party people and try to get them to help, but because T'Lyn won't call Tindy her friend, they decide that she's being mean to Tindy and hunt down Mariner and T'Lyn. They hide in a closet. T'Lyn is frustrated that she just wants to go contact her old shipmates because she wasn't Vulcan enough, and Mariner tells her, "That's ridiculous, your crew were idiots, fuck Captain Sokol." Spock's dad had Bendy syndrome, and he was Vulcan as a motherfucker. This calms down T'Lyn enough that she stops broadcasting her nasty feels, and gives security a chance to retake the bridge. Turns out that all that slam poetry can really calm someone down. Freeman pulls them away from the neutral zone just in time, much to the Romulans' disappointment, but they decide to lurk somewhere else, just in case. The Cerritos makes it safely to Risa, and Shax tells Boimler the most important part of security is knowing when to take time off. The MILFs apologize, but also give them information about the mysterious big bad ship. As things calm down, T'Lyn accepts that Mariner might be her friend. You mock your friends more than your enemies. Tindy wants to be T'Lyn's friend really badly, though. The end.
Aww.
Dear God, there's so much in this episode. I paused like 6 times. Well, not even. I paused like it felt like every other minute because I'm like, oh God, everything is happening so fast. I just want to get everything down.
Yeah. That was 4 minutes 34 over.
Jiminy Miminy, I'm so but it's
that was a lot, and it's one of those things where it felt comparable to the other two.
It did,
and yet more got done. Like we got to know more about the characters. We got to know more about T'Lyn.
It's frustrating because I tend to be a Discovery defender, but even I'll admit it is frustrating how little can happen in 60 minutes of Discovery, and this show will cram so much into 25. Like, amazing.
I mean, in a way, I kind of I still wish there were longer seasons of the live action ones. But yeah, they could somehow do more episodes but shorter, tighter episodes. I'd be good with that.
I would love that.
That'd be a good
I don't like short TV seasons. I think they are ruining, I'm not going to say everything, but most things.
Yeah.
There are a lot of negative things about them between issues with kind of staff and labour and, just the way in which we're consuming media these days. I mean, I say that. At the same time, it can feel very daunting going, a 22-episode season of an old show. Oh, God. Oh, that's a lot. But, I say that as someone that has seen The OC and Gilmore Girls countless times now, all the way through back in the day.
The last Gundam series only had 12 episodes, and it desperately needed at least one more. And that's saying something, and I'm saying that as someone who liked the show. I still think it needed a lot more time. And sorry, I'm being weirdly defensive about how not quickly I got through that. This episode's delightful.
Yes, it really was. It was really good fun seeing with the Betazoids and the fact that they were from Betazoid intelligence and are going to Charlie's Angels around the place. So that makes sense, actually.
You pointed out in the notes, Charlie, that they're named after characters from Jamie Loftus podcast topics too.
Isn't literally one named after the girl in Lolita?
Yes.
Yeah, Dolores Hayes. That's Dolores.
Because that was one of Jamie's first big podcasts was a deep dive on Lolita.
Okay.
Which everyone should listen to. It's really good. And then, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, Charlie.
No, go.
Yeah, Kate, so Ketrock's named after Katie Fox, one of the founders of Spiritualism, from Jamie Loftus' excellent podcast, Ghost Church. And Kathy Geiswhite is the name of the author of the comic Kathy, which Jamie did a deep dive on in a podcast called Ackcast. All of these are worth your time if you haven't listened to, if you need some good feminist media and history analysis, all 3 of those podcasts are worth your time.
Yeah, it's nice when you get that kind of thing where there was a bit of like a light nod, and it's not a hey, point at reference. I say as someone who does, like, in my notes, I do have like, this was a little bit too heavy on the only people we talk about are Star Trek show royalty, of like doing a poem about Worf and all of those kind of things. It's like, guys,
That's fair, yeah.
other people exist.
Sometimes that's like the one kind of recurring problem I do have with Lower Decks, which is a minor problem to have, but it just it's like that same problem with a lot of the modern Star Wars, where George Lucas is drawing from a lot of references and inspirations, and then for like the modern stuff, the inspirations and references they're drawing from is just Star Wars, and so it's not bringing anything particularly new to the pot. You're just reheating the same ingredients.
Yeah, it eats its own tail, which I remember when I first watched Lower Decks, that was my biggest fear. And 4 seasons in, and as good as the show is, it still falls down that hole from time to time. Even now, even at this point, having it as one of the few Star Treks I've seen the whole way through, I still roll my eyes. I still have to go like, guys.
Yeah, that bothered me too.
It is that kind of, we don't need to Ernest Klein everything.
No, and things like the reference to Angel 1, to Xanthi Fever and Bendai Syndrome, fine. Like, these are all on Star Treks we've covered. I mean, we've not covered Angel 1 yet, but these are all things that we're aware of, and it doesn't make a difference to the story. It doesn't get in the way. I also felt with the security gathering, it felt a little like the aircon guys in Community, or that kind of thing. Like a secret cabal who, in their case, do slam poetry.
I did like the Naruto run.
Yeah, that was good. In general, there's a like those are like really. I remember last night I had I also rolled my eyes at the Worf thing. But at the same time, I think the thing that I'm really impressed with in this episode is how much exploration we get of T'Lyn, who is still a new character at that point. And it's weird looking back and realizing, God, they really introduced her late in the game, but she really feels like a natural fit for this.
The dynamic.
Yeah.
And she is indeed Vulcan as a motherfucker.
She is indeed.
Although she's given more than just being Vulcan is your one character trait. So, that's helpful, even if it is, thanks to the Bendy syndrome.
I love that we did a really good way of establishing that she's like her insecurities and making that literally the core of the story, and did it quite well. I liked that a lot. This is just kind of a feel good episode for me. It's not like a belter. It's not an all timer, but it is an episode I really like, and it was a huge breath of fresh air after The Naked Now. I'm not gonna.
Oh, I'm so pleased I left this till last. It was a breath of fresh air. And like the other two, one of the notes I saw on Memory Alpha was like, this early in the show, one of the intents was to go, these are going to show you the unfettered wants and desires of the crew. It's like, that's not... If that's what you're doing, you're not doing it well, guys. But this captures everyone really well.
Yeah. It's weird how this Lower Decks episode, I think, handled the assignment better with half the runtime. I'm just going to throw that out there.
I mean, you need to establish your characters before you can break them down to establish their secret wants or needs.
Yeah, definitely. It's not that showing their secret wants and needs is going to then go, and now we put filters back on and you can see what they're like under the surface of that.
It's not a good thing to do that early in the run, and maybe that's the other reason why this episode, I think, worked a little bit better from a story perspective, is that it was season 4 of 5, not 2 or a handful of episodes in.
And even then, it's not showing the secret desires of the crew. It's just that, they're just going to get drunk. They're just going to go drunk, horny, and crazy.
More berserk than they usually are. They're not very well controlled most of the time, and this just makes that
They
worse.
are not.
Okay, so I think from what we've discussed, that puts a floor of number 69, The Naked Time. So it is only up from there. Where do we reckon? Let's see. Is it going to beat? Is it like I'm just seeing the speed bump of Threshold at 53 and Tuvix at 54. I was defending Threshold just the other day to someone and going, it is mostly good space horror. Like, there is a lot to love.
Right underneath Threshold is Tuvix.
Yep.
I'm just looking at Lower Decks episode. Our highest ranking Lower Decks episode is at number 44 is Lower Decks, I Have No Bones, Yet I Must Flee, which of course the Moopsie did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
Same season even. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, okay, the Moopsie did kill a few people, but the Moopsie did nothing wrong. It's following its nature of being fucking adorable.
Yeah. Okay, so what? Better or worse than I Have No Bones Yet I Must Flee?
I gotta say that this is... I don't want to say worse because that implies like a severe drop in quality. It's not as good as.
No, and this is a top-heavy list, so the top, like, number 44 is still really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. What else we got? Oh, God, Sub Rosa. Just seeing you hovering at Sub Rosa on 49. I know I defended that, but I think it's probably better than Sub Rosa.
it definitely has more Naruto running. I mean, if there's a point where, like, you know, if Jordy and Data did like a Naruto run through the Enterprise, I mean, that would be like number 1 on the list.
Obviously.
True.
Obviously.
I did like the idea that the security detail not only deal with like external threats to the crew, but also just like their emotional well-being.
Yeah.
Like it.
So, okay, yeah, we've mentioned a few times they've got no real HR department or anything. Like, generally there seems to be at best a counsellor and maybe a bartender, and that's on the flagship.
Although I can't imagine Worf hosting slam poetry. I would like to imagine Worf hosting slam poetry because he'd hate it. There would be,
it would be some kind of poetry.
There would definitely be slamming. It probably wouldn't be the poetry, but yes.
Okay, so better than Sub Rosa.
Sorry, magical sex candle.
Yeah.
Deja Q. Like, I think that might be a bit better than this.
I can agree with that.
You know, as insufferable as Q kind of gets, the more he turns back up. I feel that this is like the quintessential. If you want to do something fun with Q, this is kind of like, this is it.
Oh God, yeah. Taking away his powers, it was such a good move for someone as, massively powerful and horrendous. And go, put him out of his element, and everyone gets to have a good laugh at him. Okay, so that would put this at episode 49 on our big list, which is, still a good showing, even if it is not our highest rated Lower Decks episode. Now, with all that, that's our show.
Oh, man.
So we're going to bid you adieu and have a look at share our plugs. First of all, if you like what we do and if you want to suggest an episode, then you can always go to ko-fi.com/casualtrek, throw us pretty much any amount of money at this point, and we will cover a theme of your choice, or an episode of your choice, or a character of your choice, as we've had people go, Dax, do an episode on Dax. And we can be found on Blue Sky at casualtrek.bsky.social. And Celeste is our guest. Where can people find you?
I'm all over the place.
And where can people find you as well?
So you can find me. I'm violently fluctuating between nerdy cultural analysis and existential dread over at celestesbest.bluesky.social. I am still making lots of videos over at youtube.com/@Nickizumi. I haven't fixed the old name yet because I'm a Luddite. But if you like the things that I'm doing and you want to financially support me, I have a Patreon at patreon.com/celestisbest. Or if you want to see some of my cosplay stuff, Celeste Star Twin Cosplay on Instagram, or Ko-Fi or Ko-Fi.com/Celeste. Ko-Fi.com/Celeste Star Twin. That's where I have my. That's where you can send me money for my cosplay, and also where I keep some paywalled stuff. It's they don't allow anything too spicy on coffee, but if you want to see some Kill la Kill or Fate things that I don't post on my Insta, you can throw me money there, and I will hook you up. So yeah. Those are the primary places to find me these days.
And Miles, what about you?
Well, they can find me on my Blue Sky account at milesreedlabarto.bsky.social for my Blue Sky account, and mareedlabarto.wordpress.com for my blog. I also recently guested on the first episode of a new podcast called Hugo Histories, where they are going through every single Hugo Award-winning novel in chronological order, and I'm appearing on the first episode and I talk about Alfred Bester's Demolished Man, and that might, unlike either my appearances on this show or my appearances on Breakfast in the Ruins, I actually try and be smart and analytical and not just a crazed coffee-fueled idiot.
God, good luck with that. I don't know what I'd do if I had to be smart on one of these things anymore. Yeah, that said, with my own plugs, people can find me on skyshark.itch.io, both as a website and my Blue Sky handle. I have comic and RPG materials there. Also, if you're in the UK, then going to Forbidden Planet or numerous other comic stores, or I think hopefully WH Smith's, given everything that's going on with them at the moment. I don't know. For Pulp, the first issue of a black and white anthology featuring my own comic with Lane Lloyd's artwork called Past Futureman, about a caveman thrust forward to a place where time has stopped working. And if you're in America or just want a digital version, I'll put a link to it in the show notes. But it's all very exciting. So that's it from us. Go do a Starfleet, and don't replicate anything any of these people did in any of these episodes.
Please don't.
Yeah.
Unless it's doing self-care like the security team on the Cerritos. You can do that.
Okay, yeah. Do self-care like them, and none of the rest of it. And go do a Starfleet.
And have a jelly baby. But make sure it's not one of those Jello shot jelly babies.
And keep on spocking in the free world.
You have been listening to Casual Trek, a Nerd and Tie podcast, presented by Charlie Etheridge Nunn and Miles Reed Labarto. Music by Alfred Etheridge Nunn. Edited by the hosts and by Rhianna Reed Labarto. Star Trek is owned by Paramount. Not us. Not yet.